All right, let's talk about something that's, well, a make-or-break skill for any company today: change management. How do you actually lead your team when the ground is constantly shifting beneath your feet? We're going to get right into it.
So, let's kick things off with a number that's kind of shocking. Brace yourself. Studies showed that a whopping 70%, that's 70% of big change projects in companies just fail. They don't hit their goals. Think about that. 7 out of 10 times, a major initiative falls flat. And you know why? It's almost always because the people side of things got completely overlooked.
So that's the big question, right? If the deck is stacked against you like that, how in the world do you make sure your project is one of the lucky few that actually works? How do you beat the odds? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today.
All right, so first up, the constant threat of change. To really get the solution, we've got to understand the problem. And the problem is, we live in a world where change isn't just some big event that happens once in a while. Nope, it's the air we breathe now. I mean, think about it. In business today, if you're standing still, you're actually falling behind. It's that simple. With new tech, new competitors, new everything, adapting isn't about getting a leg up anymore. It's literally about survival.
And if you want a perfect, almost painful example of what happens when you get this wrong, look no further than Kodak. I mean, this is the classic story, right? Back in 1975, one of their own engineers invented the first digital camera. They had the future right there in their hands. But what did they do? Through the 90s, they just couldn't let go of that super profitable film business. They resisted the change. And the result? By 2012, they filed for bankruptcy. It wasn't a failure of technology, not at all. It was a massive failure of change management. So if ignoring change is the villain here, what's the hero of our story? Well, it's something called the people-powered solution. It's all about a smart approach that puts people front and center. Okay, so what is change management really? Let's get a clear definition. At its heart, it's just a systematic way of dealing with the people side of change. It's not about the fancy new software or the new reporting structure. It's about the humans, the actual people who have to show up every day and make that change work.
And this whole idea applies to pretty much any kind of change you can think of. It could be something small, an incremental change like tweaking an existing process. Or it could be huge, a transformational change, like a total shift in company strategy. The underlying principles, they're exactly the same.
And the reason we're even talking about this, the payoff for getting it right is just massive. Check this out. Research shows that when you do change management really well, you are 6 times more likely to hit your project goals. Let me say that again. 6 times more likely. That's the difference between being in that 70% failure group we mentioned and being a success story.
Okay, so we get it. It's super important. But what does a good strategy actually look like? Let's dig into the blueprint for success. Turns out, it really comes down to a few key principles.
First things first, you need a clear and compelling vision. Everyone, and I mean everyone, from the CEO down to the intern, needs to understand the why. Why are we doing this? What's the end goal? If you don't have that, you're basically just telling people to start walking without giving them a map.
Okay, principle number 2 is all about strong and visible leadership. Leaders can't just send out an email announcing the change and then, vanish. They have to be out there championing it. They have to be visible. That's what builds trust, gets you the resources you need, and this is the big one, they have to walk the walk themselves.
And number 3, open and honest communication. You have to over-communicate. Talk about it early, talk about it often, and be real about it. And here's the key. It has to be a two-way street. It's not just about broadcasting your message, it's about listening, hearing people's concerns, and giving them a voice. That's how you kill the fear and uncertainty that can tank any project.
And here's the good news. You don't have to make this stuff up from scratch. There are proven playbooks out there to help. You've got things like Kotter's 8-step model or the AIDCAR model. These are battle-tested frameworks that give you a structured path to follow. They're like a reliable roadmap for a tricky journey.
All right, principles are great, but how do you actually do it? Let's get practical. It's time to put the plan in action.
Really, you can break it down into 4 big steps. Step 1, define your vision and build your team. Get your leaders on board and pull together a solid group to guide the whole thing. Step 2, create a clear plan. This is where you map out who needs to know what, when, and how you're going to train everybody. Step 3, implement and empower. You roll out the change, sure, but the key word here is empower. Give people the training and support they need to actually win. And finally, step 4, and don't you dare skip this one. Monitor, adapt, and reinforce. You've got to track how things are going, listen to feedback, make adjustments, and, super important, celebrate those small wins along the way to keep everyone motivated.
And look, all of this, it leads to the real end game. The goal isn't just to get through one change. It's about building a change-ready culture.
So remember our sad story about Kodak? Let's flip the script and look at a company that got this so right. Microsoft. Seriously, what they did under their CEO Satya Nadella is basically a textbook example of incredible change management.
And it can all be summed up in this one powerful quote from him. He said they needed to go from a know-it-all culture to a learn-it-all culture. Just think about that for a second. That was the whole vision, shifting from a rigid mindset to one that's all about curiosity, growth, and learning.
And how they do it? Well, it looks a lot like the principles we just talked about, doesn't it? Their leadership consistently lived the new values. They put a huge focus on collaboration and curiosity. They poured resources into training and supporting their people. And they actively tore down the old silos that were getting in the way of new ideas. And that really brings us to the main takeaway here. The goal isn't just to survive one change, it's to build a culture that actually thrives on it. The best companies build this capability. It's like a cultural muscle, so that when the next big shift comes, they don't see it as a threat, they see it as an opportunity.
So I'll leave you with this one question to think about for your own team, your own company. Is your culture built to resist change or to embrace it? When something new comes along, is the gut reaction to put up walls and protect the old way of doing things? Or is it to lean in, get curious, and figure out how to make it work? Because honestly, the answer to that question could decide everything.